Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Emelia Sam.
So we hear a lot these days about authenticity, how to live more authentic lives, how to foster more authentic relationships. But research says that within the next 24 hours, most of us will lie at least 25 times. So, amidst all the deception, what does authenticity really mean? Well, I think generally we would agree that it implies being truthful. But judging by this standard, I have to admit that I have failed miserably at being truthful for the overwhelming majority of my adult life. And when I think of the times where I did have the courage to voice my truth, outcome wasn't always so desirable. Several years ago, I remember walking through the neighborhood with my irritatingly optimistic and somewhat impressionable younger cousin. And she was daydreaming out loud, going on and on about her future life with her successful businessman husband. And he basically amounted to Prince Charming with a briefcase instead of a horse. Well, unfortunately for her, I'm not one for fairy tales. And her syrupy version of happily ever after was seriously getting on my nerves. So I don't remember my exact wording, but the despondent expression on her face was enough to let me know that it was not one of my finer moments. But I was being authentic. I meant every horrible word that I said to her. But somehow that didn't sit quite right with me. So again, what does authenticity really mean? Well, these days, still judging by this standard, I would consider myself authentic about 85% of the time. Okay, more like 75% of the time. Because when I said 85%, that was my 16th lie of the day. But many would say that you can't kind of, sort of be authentic. You either are or you aren't. But I beg to differ, and here's why. Consider the gentleman who pastes a smile on his face every day before he enters the doors to a workplace that he secretly despises. Or what about the individual who stays in an unhealthy relationship, knowing full well it'll never benefit either party? Or perhaps one of you has told somebody that you thought their baby was adorable. And you know where I'm going, because you knew full well that the child was aesthetically challenged. But these are all examples of deceptive behavior. It's very common. We've all been there. We've all felt the sting of our own hypocrisy. But we really shouldn't be that hard on ourselves, because working through these inconsistencies in our character really is the crux of humanity. See, authenticity, the concept of authenticity transcends just truth. Authenticity is in those moments when the you that you are matches up with the you that you aspire to be. But it's more than that. It's also about that little voice that resides in each one of us. The voice that tells us when we could be doing better. And it's that same voice that told me my cousin was undeserving of my tirade, and that although my words may have reflected my immediate truth, my actions and my delivery were inconsistent with the person I wished to be, or should have been. So keeping that in mind, let's revise the definition. And let's say that authenticity is when the you that you are matches up with the you that you aspire to be, which is also in line with the best you that you can be. And that way, authenticity isn't so much an absolute endpoint as it is a process in which we choose to continually engage. And that's a definition that's livable, because we know that as long as we're striving to better ourselves, then authenticity is something that's completely attainable, despite the 25 lies you will tell within the next 24 hours. So the only question that remains is, how authentic are you?